Hello, welcome back to Football United TV. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us today. Jem, Ads, how are you doing?
Not bad, bro. Not bad. Same old, different day, as they say, innit? Nothing new at the moment. Being stuck at home, it's a bit crap at the moment, isn't it? Yeah, and international don't help, does it? So I want to get back to the Premier League and the Champions League.
Yeah, I'm not too bad, Matt. Thanks for inviting us on, man. Really appreciate it.
Brilliant. So we just wanted to have a quick talk about the Champions League so far, don't we? Because we're like halfway through the group stages, and luckily our teams are in. So how are you feeling at the moment, Jem? Let's ask about Chelsea. Like, how do you think their progression is at the moment in the Champions League group stages, and do you think they'll get through?
Expected, really. I think we should be really top in that group. It's not the hardest group. Barring Sevilla, who are a good team, who have given us problems at home. I think that we're in a good position. I think our next game is actually... Who we got next? Rennes, is it? Away, is it? We played Rennes at home. We've got Rennes away, haven't we? Yeah. So we should. If we win that, then obviously we've got Seville. So, we'll be in good contention. But at the end of the day, with the squad we've got, we should be, anything less than one finishing top is not great for us. And do you know what I mean? And when you're in a group like that, you've got to finish top because you don't want to be seeded when playing against blooming second and playing against all of the Bayern Munichs and the Real Madrid so early. So it's definitely what you need to do for any team, really, to finish in the top place.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it's a really tricky one, don't you think, the Champions League this year, Ads? Like, do you think, like, Man United are going to be okay? I've obviously got 6 points, haven't we, out of the 3 games?
Yeah, 6 points, yeah.
So do you think Man United make it through? Guessing they've only got one more game now to win that will put them through, surely, right?
Yeah, I think we got that in the bag, bro. I think we got that in the bag, easy, light work. I feel like the team that we're going to come up against, I don't think they're going to be too much of a problem. Yes, Istanbul did beat us, but obviously we weren't playing our completely advanced team. We weren't playing Fred in the midfield, and we weren't playing. We were playing Matic, weren't we? We were playing Matic, and he was shit. And I know he was very slow that game, but he did okay. I just don't think we need. I think Matic needs to get sold in the summer, man. I don't think he's good enough for us anymore. But I feel like we will wipe that team out of the park completely. That's just my view on it.
You think so? And we were discussing as well, as weren't we, about the fact that PSG have pretty much got to win all their games to get through that group.
Yeah, man. I think they're done, man. I think Reign as like top French team that still stands, but the best team in the world alongside Bayern Munich. Just in my opinion, that's just ain't the case no more. I think Bayern Munich absolutely clatter most teams in the world right now. I feel like French division is just for PSG. I don't think the world division is just for them. I just think they're one of the best teams in the world, not the best team in the world. Because people would say that because they have Neymar and Mbappe, who are world class players. But that ain't the case, man. You can have like 3-4 world class players in a team. Ain't gonna make you the best team in the world, brother. And I say this again and again. Like, how many world class players have we got? We're not the best team in the world. I'm trying to say. So I say Bayern Munich the best team in the world right now, but PSG, they do need to fix up, man, because they've been poor recently.
They have been. Do you agree with that, Jem? Do you think PSG have got like a mountain to climb to get out of this group?
Definitely not the same outfit. I think I know we talk about Thiago Silva quite a lot, but Kimpembe, who was playing next to him at the time, looked awesome last season. You take Thiago Silva away from that and he looks like a very average defender. And it kind of reminds me a bit like Zuma at Chelsea last season. He struggled because he never had someone of that calibre. And it just shows how good Thiago Silva is, really, doesn't it, what he does. So, yeah, I mean, there'll always be a threat, PSG. They've got the Neymars, they've got the Kylian Mbappes. These are world-class players. You can't deny it. Even Di Maria performs for them on the odd occasion, do you know what I mean? And he can be dangerous on his day. So, for me, it's like, it wasn't a surprise for me when Man United actually beat him the first time. I think I was one of the only fans that said Man United would beat PSG. So yeah, it's I just think that you're at home, and I think they're not what's the word? They're not the same PSG as they were a couple of years ago, and I think they're vulnerable, and I think you can get at them, and I think that you guys just need to just play your game. That's what I think, and you'll be able to do something. Yeah.
Agree. And you know what? Like going back onto Chelsea quickly there, Jem, as well. It's you've drawn 7 points, the same with Sevilla. That's pretty much both of you, I think, comfortable through. Krasnodar on 1 and Rennes on 1. I think it's easier for you, isn't it, to get through this stage?
Yeah, I think us and Sevilla are sort of drawing at the moment on points. The only thing that's different between us is our goal difference is a lot stronger than theirs. We're in control of it. Even if we go to Seville and we draw that game and we win our last game, we're still going to finish top. So it's just about knocking them goals in. If they're going to compete with us on points and we're going to be the same to the end, then we've just got to have a better goal difference in them. So I do expect us to try and finish first in that group.
What do you make about going on to Group D, like Liverpool on 9 points, Ajax on 4, Atalanta on 4? That could be quite hard for Liverpool, seeing as they've had a few players drop out due to injuries recently. Do you think they're going to have a bit of a battle there, getting through that group? Because it is quite tight, it looks like.
I think, to be honest, what they dismantled Atlanta away, and Atlanta only know one way to play. And I just think, I know they haven't got a defence, and I know they're going to have problems now for that, but they've still got them boys up front, and that's the thing. That like them boys up front, are still fit and they're still playing, and I still expect them to finish top. They're the champions at the end of the day. It doesn't matter if they haven't got certain individuals. They're the champions. You always expect them to be up there and doing their thing, even with injuries. So, yeah, I think they should top it.
Do you agree with that, Ads? Like, do you think that Liverpool are definitely comfortably through to the next round, even though it's a little bit tight there?
Yeah, well, it's Liverpool at the end of the day, man. I guess anyone could have predicted it, bro. If you think Liverpool are going to win, they can. Obviously, at the top of the leaderboard, bro, they know how to hold on to that, man. That's just the club they are. They just know what to do. They take control of things once they grab something with 2 hands. It's theirs, man. Any day of the week. And I feel like Atlanta, yes, like Jim said, the defense isn't great. And it's kind of ghosted, it's kind of deaded at sometimes, but I just think Liverpool are always going to be clear winners in some things, man. And this is one of the things, one of the situations that they've literally dominated in. So, yeah, I have to agree.
Do you think that Liverpool will do good against bigger teams like Barcelona or Man City or any that they face in the next round?
Well, I'm going to say this straight, right? We know that they beat Barcelona. We know we slapped them, right? But it's a different season. And this was a Liverpool that were at the top of their game. Look at the players that they're missing right now. It's like one or two prime players out of every single line. So you have Gomez and Van Dijk who have cut from the back line. You have Fabinho out. And then you have Salah, who, bro, I don't even know what they're going to do without him. And I said this before. I said to Jim and I said to a gal, I said to all of them, I said, if Mane's there, they have a chance to do something. But if Mane gets out, then Liverpool are not going to do anything. And they're lucky that Mane is not the one who's been knocked out right now, because Mane is their best player. Mane is the best attacker in the Prem and one of the best wingers in the world, in my opinion. And I feel like I'm very proud to say that, because he's come a long way. Like, look at the club he started at. Look at all the clubs he started at. But yeah, Liverpool against the big teams, it's going to be, I'm not going to call it. I'm not going to call nothing, because I want to see what happens. I want to actually not predict anything. I just want to see, the games play out. I want to have no predictions, set no predictions. Just want to see what happens, bro. And I feel like it will be a good tussle every game that we go into.
Do you agree with that, Jem?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, for me, if they come up against like a Bayern Munich, they might. I think they'll get found out. I think that defence without Van Dijk, he is a big miss. I know we was talking about them having their attacking boys earlier. I think when they play against the bigger teams, it's going to be about who scores the most goals at the end of the day, because they're not going to contain them. They're just going to have to hope that Sane, Mane and Salah and Jota and whoever else is up there are banging in goals. Because if they're not banging in goals, then I definitely see them leaking some goals. Like I said, I think Bayern Munich can beat anyone in the world, to be honest. I think they're that good. Real Madrid are still dangerous, and they're not the same Real Madrid, but the same even with Barcelona, not the same Barcelona, but they've still got Messi, so there's enough there to be worried about, and I just think that Van Dijk will be a big miss for them in the bigger games against the bigger teams, and we'll just have to see again. It's just, like I said, I think they're going to have to outscore them. That's the only way they're going to beat them, to be honest, so we're going to have to see.
Can I just say one thing, lads? In my opinion, this might seem harsh, but Liverpool fans deserve this. Some Liverpool fans do deserve this, and I'll tell you why. Because all they say is, we've got Van Dijk, we've got Gomez, we've got Salah, we've got Fabinho, and now where are those players? They're out and they're panicking. And there's certain fans, I ain't going to bait no names, but you guys know who I'm talking about, because Vinar, all he talks about is these and how they're all world-class. And the thing is, they are world-class players, but they're out now. And it just proves that you do not talk about your team like the hardest team, because they're not. They used to be, but they're not anymore. And that's facts. Sometimes it goes around like a roundabout, bruv. Sometimes your team could be at the top, it rotates. Sometimes your team could be at the top, it rotates. And Liverpool are not the team anymore. They're not the team that they were 2 years ago.
I think the problem they've got is depth. And even though they bought Jota and they bought a couple of players, they didn't really solve areas. They didn't really strengthen. Like, you look at Chelsea, for example. They've got 4 defenders. So if 2 get injured, they've got 2 coming in. You look at the left back. All right, they've still got Emerson and Alonso. They're not great, but they're still there. They've got Dave, who can play left back if Reece James is fit. And what I'm trying to get is they've got versatility. They've got other options. And when you look at Liverpool, bang, they had a couple of injuries, and they're looking at each other going, "Who's coming in? Like, who's replacing these people?" They haven't got that, so they're going to. I think Liverpool could have done better in the transfer window, and they didn't. And I think that was probably down to a little bit of thinking they were invincible, because they thought, we've not had any injuries for the last 2 seasons. And I said it on the terrace, we all did, and we kept banging it onto the Liverpool boys, and we said, look, you will get injuries eventually. Like, there's no way in hell you're going to go through a season again without no injuries. And it's gone the complete opposite for them, innit? It's not even just a couple. It seems like they've all just been completely annihilated.
The absolute domino effect. Yeah, it's strange. I mean, do you think that's really bad preparations for the new season, the fact that they knew that this sort of thing might happen, and the fact that the free sub thing, did that come in after the Premier League started, or was it just before? The whole fact that they could have only 3 subs and not the 5 subs that they gave them. That was
at the beginning of the season. They organised that, didn't they? They switched it back to normal, but I don't know. Look, at the end of the day, if you don't strengthen your team, as a champion, you should always look to strengthen. It doesn't matter who you are. Well, Chelsea done it in the past when they moved on to a next season. They're always looking for alternatives, people that can cover. They didn't do that, and to be honest, I don't have any real sympathy for them, because all right, they're going to go, it's COVID, etc. We didn't have money, but you spent 45 million on Jota, and you didn't buy Werner, who was 50 million. Like, it just doesn't make. It's not like you haven't got money if you're spending 45 million on a guy from Wolves who has been good. Don't get me wrong, he started very well, but who was to say that he was going to come in and do that? No one had proof, did they, to see that he could do that? But I don't know.
Can I just say one thing though, Matt, before we go on to the next topic? Jem, the thing is, right, with Jota, no fan rated him before he came to the club. No one wanted him. And now they've seen his class, they're like, oh yeah, our striker, our saviour, all this crap. It was the same with Pogba at United. Everyone was like, this guy's going to come in and save us. Same with Bruno as well. They're going to like, this guy's going to consistently come in and save the day. Bruno is not consistent. Pogba is not consistent. And I assure you now, Jota will either pick up an injury or he'll just drop off in the next 2 months. I assure you he'll drop off and he won't be scoring goals. That's just my opinion. His class, I think he's top class. I think he's a really good player, but they never wanted him at the start. So why are they bagging on like they've just bagged like a world-class striker? Because in my opinion, he's not world-class.
Is he? The thing we've got to realise with Jota is he just an impact player? Is he someone that's just going to keep coming off the bench and scoring them goals? Like, is he? Because like he started against Man City, and I know he was a bit out of position, but he was non-existent in that game. I didn't even know he was playing. And he started that game. So I don't know. I think, again, I ain't going to hold any judgments against him because he started very well. But let's just see, innit? It's too early to say anything at the moment. Yeah. Let's just see how the season plans out for Liverpool.
He's definitely the backup dancer, I think. I know, very good one as well. You know what I mean? Like, I think, he's just an addition to the squad. Like Shaqiri, when they brought him in, they weren't thinking he was like, wow, he's going to become like the world-class player that he thought he was going to be. He just was a good addition, and Shaqiri has helped them along the way as well. Like, even if it is a little bit, it was a good buy for what they needed. And I'm with you on that. And I'm just looking at Man City as well on Group C with Porto, Olympiacos and Marseille. They've got 9 points. And that's another tight group with Porto on 6, Olympiacos on 3. Do you think Man City are going to go through? They don't seem to have any injury worries at the moment.
Yeah, again, I think they're a bit like Chelsea. They've just got to, they should win that group. I don't care who's in that group. They should still be winning that, top in that group. So, yeah, they have had injuries. They lost. I think the thing with Man City is they've lost Aguero, and I feel like they've lost balance a bit. Like, they haven't got someone to like put the ball in the back of the net. I know Jesus has just come back, but he's just not Aguero, is he? He's not as clinical. He's not the same.
It's not even that. It's not even that. In my opinion, Gabriel Jesus is just overrated. And the reason why he has the big names because he's Brazilian and he's in the Premier League.
Potentially, but we haven't seen enough of Jesus. We've seen bits of him. I mean, last season he was pretty much non-existent, from what I remember. He didn't, when he was fit, he wasn't, contributing to as many goals. I think he only scored I remember we went through a phase where he didn't score at home for like 3-4 months, and then he scored one, and it was just like out of the blue. So I think Man City's biggest problem. It's a bit like Liverpool. Everything that good comes kind of to an end. Like the companies, the Silvers, the Agueros, like they haven't replaced them, and that's not their fault. It's just that there's not any players out there of that caliber. So they didn't really have a great transfer window in my eyes as well. In the players that they bought in, like Nathan Ake, like what was the point of that? Do you know what I mean? Like, and then you go and buy Diaz, who's been starting anyway. Like, it's just been random buys for me with Man City. I just don't see. Still a good team, still a quality team.
Yeah.
They've got KDB in there. I know that, but they're just not the same functioning team in my eyes that they have been.
Can I say one thing though, Matt? I want to add on to Jeb's point. In my opinion, because Aguero's been out for so long, I feel like there's only 2 players that can wrap up the credit for the past few seasons, and I feel like the 2 names I'm going to give are Kevin De Bruyne and Sterling. They've been they've proven their worth, because everyone was like, Sterling's not fit for the Premier League when he was at Liverpool. Made his move to City, didn't play for a while. Then obviously he came through in, I think it was 18-19 season or 17-18 season. And boy, listen, this guy this is his prime in my opinion. I think he's still in the phase of up and down, but I feel like he will get better. But that was prime Sterling in my opinion. That's like young age prime. When you go up to older age prime, I'd say it like that, like categories. But when he first came to City, boy, the guy he shut all the haters down. He hasn't done it recently, but because the problem is he's short, and that's not trying to be rude, but the ball always goes over him when the defender tries to lob it over to his to the winger. Like, that's literally behind him, so it's always going to go over him. But the guy runs so fast, and he always scores goals in positions he shouldn't be scoring in. This guy dips into the box when he's not meant to, and Pep's even said he doesn't ask Sterling to do that. But now he's made it his thing to do that because Sterling is capable. He's a rule breaker. Like I said to Claude, I said some players like Willian, who are wingers, sometimes they break the rules, and sometimes it's for the best. If you want to win games, you have to have someone who's not scared to do what they want to do, what they've been brought into the club to do. If they're not doing that, then they're a failure. But Sterling is not a failure in my opinion. And I like Willian as well, but Arsenal's not the club for him, in my opinion. But Sterling, class, man. I'd take him at United any day. Any day. Disgrace that he's being compared to Adama Traore as well. Disgrace. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I find it funny, but it's a joke. How can you compare someone, just because he's got strength and speed, compared to someone who's bagging twice the amount of goals and assists, who's smaller, and yet still has the same speed ratio as you? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, you can't compare the two. In my opinion, Sterling's just unique, and he does his own thing, man. I'd take him any day. People, United fans, want Traore in the summer. I don't want that, man. He would just. I just can't see him playing for us, and I don't want him to play for us. That's a massive downgrade. Massive downgrade, in my opinion.
So do you guys think that Man City will reach the pinnacle of what they dreamed? The Champions League now is the one thing off of their list, isn't it? Do you think they're going to do that in the foreseeable future, or do you think it's something that's way long distance?
They should have done it 3-4 years ago when they had the Silvers and the Companies and the Agueros in their prime. So that was them at their best, and they still couldn't compete with the top teams across Europe. Even then, they were getting knocked out in the quarters. Do you know what I mean? So I just think, you know what it is, like, Man City have got money. We all know that. You know what I mean? Us and them, Chelsea and Man City have got the dough. Like, they can just go out and buy players at will. Do you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, they could go into the next couple of seasons and go and buy Mbappe, bring Messi in for like a season. I don't blame it, no. Do you know what I mean? And it might win it that way. But if I'm looking at the current squad that they've got, I'm sorry, even with KDB in the team, I just don't see how they're gonna win it. Win it with that bunch of players in my eyes. And it is what it is, because I think, like I said, the Bayern Munich's, for me, they're just on another tier. Like, everyone's good, but then there's a tier above that, and that tier is Bayern Munich. And I just think that they stand out. And they've picked Barcelona. If you look at Barcelona, they're not the same team anymore. They're not the same Barcelona as Xavi.
They're not the same team anymore.
And all of them. And
they're
then
not the same.
You look at Real Madrid, when they had Cristiano Ronaldo, Benzema in his prime, Gareth Bale, who was actually playing and was unreal at his time. They're not the same teams anymore. There's not much competition in Europe anymore as it used to be. For me, Bayern Munich stand out the most, and everyone else is on the same level field.
I can't hold this in any long. I've just every time I hear people talking about Real Madrid and Barcelona being so close when it comes to competition, like as top tier clubs, and people just fending off of how good Ronaldo and Messi were at those clubs. It's such a nice feeling to actually hear someone talk about that. But then you realise how sad and shit football's actually gotten, because in my opinion, Griezmann isn't as good as he was anymore. He used to be world class. In my opinion, he's way past his prime. Way before he left Atletico. I think it was the season before his last one, or even before that, he left. His head just was. His head was lost.
Have you seen that thing on Netflix, Jem? Maybe as well. The making of a legend, the Griezmann story.
No, I haven't watched it. I've seen it.
I watched it. I don't want to talk about it, because it's. I'm saying this right now. If you haven't seen it, then don't watch it, because it's a bunch of rubbish. He was never going to be. He was meant to be a legend. He was meant to be. He was a player who was meant to be. They got to the advanced level and then they dropped off. That's the player that Griezmann was, and he's been horrible at Barcelona. Listen, the stats say otherwise, and I'm not a stat man, as you guys know. I always say I'm not a stat guy. I don't turn to stats for facts. I visually see it and I watch the games, and he's not good enough for Barcelona level anymore. I think he needs to just go to the retirement club. That's Inter, because Inter's where all the ex-world class players have gone. Like, in my opinion, Lukaku's still world class, but it's like he's on his last legs now, and he's still playing that well. I think he's going to play for a while now, but Eriksen's kind of dead in my opinion. I don't think he's as good as he was at Tottenham. It's basically a retirement club, lads. It is basically.
Are you suggesting that Inter Milan are some sort of LA Galaxy of the Italian Serie A?
Well, mate. Go on, Jim. Sorry,
I think you could just probably throw AC Milan in that bracket as well, because if you look at Ibrahimovic, he's still 40 odd years old, and he's still a baller, isn't he? He still bangs in goals. But yeah, it seems like in Italy there's a habit of taking in these older players. Look at Cristiano Ronaldo. He was going he left Real Madrid, he went over there, and he's getting in. He's even going on now, isn't he? 34, 35, I think he is, a little bit more. Like, it seems like a lot of world-class players end their careers in Italy, and a lot of the times it's probably to do with the style of football. They couldn't come to the Premier League and played in the intensity levels that we play here with their legs. You know what I mean? I mean, Thiago Silva's just a freak for me, like a freaking A, But even then, we still have to watch him. Do you know what I mean? Because he wouldn't be able to play every game. Do you know what I mean? So it makes sense. It seems like Italy's the place to go when you've won everything and you want to just bang in some goals and play some football. And it's at a lot more of a slower pace in Italy as well, isn't it? That compared to Spain and England, it's a lower sort of pace of football out there. So yeah.
But lads, last season 35 goals and 12 assists from Lukaku just proves that this guy ain't going nowhere for a while, man. And honestly, bruv, I'd do anything to take Lukaku back. He just wasn't good enough for our club. He just wasn't his club, was it, man? It just wasn't, mate. Sadly, it wasn't. And it isn't.
It wasn't for Chelsea as well.
It wasn't for Chelsea either. He wasn't for Chelsea either. For his heights were really shown at Everton. I feel like when he was with Barkley, when Barkley was actually a like a light standout, like when like when a sparkler is only like shining a little bit. That's when he was
they
actually
played well
showing his
together.
worth. They played well together, link up. I remember when they slapped Chelsea. I remember when they slapped Chelsea 3-1. I remember that result, and I was gassed watching it. Lukaku, I think he nutmegged. Wasn't it Ivanovic that was your centre back in the day? Was it Ivanovic, wasn't it? Yeah, Ivanovic was a good centre back in my opinion. And I look at all these players. I'm really glad I was brought up in the early 2000s to actually witness greatness, which is Ronaldo, Messi, all those types of players, and then seeing them, move on, and then seeing the new fresh talent, which is Mbappe and those types of players. But yeah, man, it's what a journey it's been for those two players as well. When Messi and Ronaldo leave, it's going to be deep. Many fans are going to be upset, and I don't blame them. But I just don't think.
I think they're a freak of nature, them two players, and I honestly don't think that there's a player out there at this moment that can match their levels, their records, everything. You will have the standout player because once them two go, the bracket drops because at the moment it's not. You look at Mbappe, right? He's top class. He is good, but he's playing in a crap league. Like, what is he doing? Like, he needs to go, for me, and go to Spain, or he needs to go to the Premier League. He needs to go and really test himself because he does that and he can still contain the levels of goals that he scores, assists, and whatever. Then he will create that bracket again of world class being up there and being the best of the best once Messi and Ronaldo are gone. But when he's doing it in France, day in, day out, I'm not saying it's but it's not the greatest of leagues, is it, to be doing that in? So I think he really needs a new test, and that's it, really.
Can I just say one thing though? If he was actually in the Prem, I feel like he'd be like Rashford. He'd show how suspect he can be at times. If that's a fair shout, because I think that's a fair shout you're going to get from someone who's actually a United fan. I'm not just saying that Rashford's playing like that because he shouldn't be playing like that. Like, he's world class, in my opinion, and I feel like he's, like you said, Jim, like we always say, he's a tier under Mbappe. Not so far of a tier, not too far off the top shelf, but he is under Mbappe, and I feel like the games in the Champions League proved how good Rashford can be and how good he will be in the future. I just hope Mbappe and Rashford live up. Actually, you know what? No, scrap that. Messi and Ronaldo will always have their own podium.
Bracket.
No one,
you can't get to that.
You can't get to that level, bro. I hear people saying Felix and all these dead players from Atletico Madrid can get to their level. No, they can't. They can't. No Liverpool player can either. I say this right now. You, in my opinion, have a Prem tier as well. So, in my opinion, Ronaldo and Messi have their own tier. That's not tier one. That's like God tier. Tier one, in my opinion, is like the likes of like big names who have branded themselves. So like Mane, Hazard, Neymar. They have their own tier. I think, in my opinion, personally, I think Mane is better than Neymar, and I think he's better than Hazard. But Hazard is, in my opinion, one of the best wingers and attackers to have ever lived. I think he's better than Neymar as well. People would disagree with me, but what I've seen, Hazard is a beast, unique, fast, and he does what he needs to do. And he proved that at Chelsea. I'd say his legacy at Chelsea will be missed dearly because he was one of your best players, but he hasn't done what he was meant to do leaving Chelsea that he's done at Real Madrid. He's never lived up to the standards that he was meant to have set. So Chelsea is the club for him, man. And he was never
Neymar at Barcelona when Neymar was at Barcelona and he was playing with Messi and Suarez. That was when they were at their pinnacles. Like, that's when Neymar was at his pinnacles, and he was very, very, very good. Don't get me wrong. He was a pleasure to watch. I've always thought Neymar was a great player. You can't knock the guy. He's talented. He's probably the most skillfulest player I've seen in a while. But for me, Eden Hazard is just. I might be a bit biased, but that guy can literally get the game by a scruff of her neck and change it. And what you got to bear in mind is when we won our leagues, he was immensely important. It got to the point where we were relying on him so much, where we'd give him the ball and it'd be like, do something. And there was games where I'd sit there and we'd be drawing, and it's like, who's going to score? And it would just do a little dribble in and out, round 2-3 players, and bang. Do you know what I mean? And that would win us the game. So for me, he carried his team a lot more than Neymar did. That makes sense. And he's proven. He's played in the Premier League. He's won things. He's got to be one of the greatest ever. He is. He's just got to be one of the greatest ever. He was that good. In his prime, he was that good. Do you know what I mean? On his day. There's not many players that can turn up in football and people, like, if you're the opposition, you think to yourself, if he turns up today, if he's on it, which we don't know, if he's on it, we can't stop him. Like, he's just going to control this game and he's going to change it. And that was the kind of player he was. Like, it was literally to that point where you can't stop him. Like, if he's going to turn up and play today, he's going to turn up to play today, and you just got to take it. You know what I mean? And try and double up on him.
No one could stop him, bro. No one could stop him. I'm telling you this now. One of the best, not even wingers, one of the best attackers to have ever lived or even played in the Prem. People can attack us, Jem, and say, yeah, you're wrong, because there's people like Neymar. He's better than Neymar. And I think I know Mbappe has a long way to go, but I still think he'll even be better than Mbappe. There's no question of that, in my opinion, because you do not see someone who is so heavily doubted at the start come up like that and completely bag games for Chelsea as a lone player.
Agreed, mate.
Alone.
Absolutely.
Not with a team, alone. He dictated games. Like the possession stats, they were always on the attack in favour. So obviously you have aisles of possession. You have the 3/4 of the right. You have the 3/4 for the other team. It was always heavily full of possession on the attacking table. So obviously it was used to be like 30 on the top each time, 35. Always used to be like one-sided amount of possession on the attacking line, which is where he used to grab the ball the most. And like you said, used to dribble past 3 players and just score, man. I've never seen anything like it. I wish you could go back to those days, because as a United fan, I was like, whenever Chelsea came up against us, I was like, oh shit, we're fucked. We're not going to be able to stop this guy. And I just wish we could go through that again, because no one in my opinion now.
Do not want to go through that. I don't know.
I would never want to go through it again. But I'd like to see him play more again, because there's no way I'm watching him play at Real Madrid, because it's not the same.
Do you want to shout out your brand new channel, guys? Loving it at the moment. G&A TV.
Go on, Ed.
I'll do it then. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously, G&A TV is a partnership channel. Obviously, we bring weekend reviews, reviewing the games from the weekend. We do the Gemini show. We also invite guests we obviously collab with other channels, people like Matt, and obviously we get their opinions and thoughts on games. And we're going to do many new shows. Many new shows are going to come to the table, and I feel like it'll bring something different. Obviously, we've gained about 200, just nearly 300 subscribers in a few days, which is massive for us, because we've never really hosted before. We've always been like a guest on channels, but it's different for us, and I feel like we're adapting to it. And yeah, man. Jem, do you want to say anything, bro?
Not really, other than watch this space, really. We've got a lot going on in the next couple of weeks. So shows on Thursday. We might potentially throw one tomorrow. We're not sure yet. On Monday next week, we've got a big review of the games over the weekend with six fans from each top 6 club as well. I've got Kendall coming on Thursday to review Chelsea Newcastle with me. So there's a lot going on, and we've got a lot of plans, and there's lots of ideas that we've got that we ain't even thrown out yet. We were just waiting for the Premier League to get back, because we kind of started at a bad time with it all. But yeah, it is what it is. But moving forward.
Guys, thank you very much for tuning in today and tuning in. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for tuning in, everybody. Football United TV, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Keep subscribing. We're near to 300 now, so thank you very much.
Keep subscribing, guys. Keep subscribing. Smash the like buttons.
Go check these guys out. They're bloody brilliant, by the way. I watch them all the time. They know I do. I'm always in the comments.
Yeah, I know. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Appreciate it, boss. Thanks, man.
No worries.